I mean, that's perfect music because if you stuck around, you're a champ. And you know what champs get? Champs get prizes. Champs get money. And you know who's going to get you that money? My boy MMA Pickers. If you don't know, this is MMA Pickers Picks of the Week. It is time for you to shine, my boy.
Well, I have to jump, though. So,
All right, love you.
everyone
See you
listening,
later.
Pickers, one of the best in the business.
Heard
Say
it
it
from
again.
Mac. All right, cool. We got a fun UFC card. We had some pretty nice hits on 309. Congrats to everyone, specifically who tailed Bo Nickel by decision. Obviously, Jones got the finish as well, so pretty successful last couple weeks. I'm going to jump into this. I'm staying away from a lot of the prelims because these are fighters from the road to UFC, and they're a little bit harder to gauge. But there are a couple that I wanted to specifically call out. Number one, this is a guy who's coming off the Contender Series. I'm very, very high on him. I'm going to give two picks I actually see really good value in. This is going to be Loner Kavanaugh, and he's fighting Jose Ochoa. In the lower weight classes, I generally tend to bet the fights to go a little bit farther, but not with Loner Kavanaugh. This guy is an absolute monster when it comes to striking. I know he's very new in the UFC and he's only had one fight, but he just the hand speed, the power for considering the division he's in, it's immensely impressive. So I'm going to give out two bets on Loner Kavanaugh. I'm going to take one bet at plus 150 for Loner Kavanaugh by knockout. And I'm going to take the money line bet and use it as a parlay booster. It's sitting at about minus 350 right now. Loner Kavanaugh just to use as a parlay booster. Anyways, I don't want to call anybody a lock, but he's the closest thing to a lock I can think of. All respect to Jose Ochoa. He's a great prospect in his own right. He's been doing very impressive work, brings a good body of work. But I really think Loner is that guy, and we're going to see in the coming months or coming years, he's going to move up the organization very quickly. We have Shi versus Fang, Ming Shi versus Zhang Fang. That's going to be on the prelims as well. And you can almost bank on Fang to win a decision. She's got a point style. She's got a point fighting style of striking. She has a very smothering wrestling style. She mixes them together very well. It's at minus 200. It's a parlay booster, but I would add it to your parlays with confidence. I don't see too much going wrong for her there, barring something crazy happening. And then, hold on, I had one more from the prelims here. Let me just go ahead and find it. That's right. I have Carlos Hernandez on the money line. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. His opponent's name, I think, has about 35 letters in it. I did watch some tape on him after taking 20 minutes to type his name into Google. I do think Carlos Hernandez is going to be able to keep this on the feet, and he's going to have a pretty significant striking advantage. The most likely outcome, well, Carlos Hernandez also has a huge grappling advantage, too, with the wrestling. The most likely outcome I see here is probably a Carlos Hernandez decision, but I would not be surprised if he gets a submission either. But I'm going to say just take the money line, minus 162, no need to be greedy. Hernandez should have him beat in every area, although his opponent does have some pretty significant power, from what I could see from the tapes. I'm going to jump all the way to the main card for the next one. Zhang Mingyang versus Ozzy Diaz. This is a great fight too. Ozzy Diaz, decently skilled striker, pretty good takedown defense, but Zhang Mingyang just has a right hand from hell. I'm going to bet on him by KO. I think it's sitting at minus 180. These are big boys too, so there's a very good chance someone's going to sleep. I'm not even really going to touch the money line at minus 340 because, with the bigger boys, it just takes one shot. Not really interesting to me at minus 340, but the KO at minus 185, I think those are great odds. We have Volkan Ozdemir going against Carlos Ulberg in the fight after that. For those of you who are not familiar with Carlos Ulberg, he's a really hot prospect, currently undefeated in the UFC. Pretty sure he trains out of City Kickboxing. He's a phenomenal striker. And he's actually coming off of like a 12-second knockout of Alonzo Menafield to pop into the rankings. Right now, Ulberg at KO is sitting at a pretty generous plus 130, and I get it. Volkan's got a lot of cool knockouts in his own right. He's a tough guy, hard-headed, very durable. But I think Ulberg is that guy. I think he's the future. I think he could be a future title contender if he keeps getting big wins like this. And I think he will find the knockout shot on Volkan. He's a much more skilled, crisp technical striker, but has the power and the aggression to get the finish when he needs to. So Oberg by knockout plus 130. I think that's a great bet. I'm going to take another crazy long shot on the next bet. Tail at your own risk. We have a minus 950 favorite, Kong Wang, who notably has a win over Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing, fighting Gabriela Fernandez, a grappler with pretty decent striking coming out of Brazil. I think this line for Kong Wang is complete hype as of right now. I do think she should be the favorite to win. She's very impressive striking. She actually even has a couple of submission record wins on her record. But minus 950 is purely because of what happened in her last fight. She was kind of fighting a tomato can, and she knocked her out very, very quickly. I think she's too unproven to have a minus 950 money line. It's not like you have Bo Nickel, the best grappler, on the face of the earth, or one of the best, not the best, but one of the best grapplers on the face of the earth, coming in and getting these huge lines. This is Kong Wang. We saw this happen with Robelis. We saw this happen, with a lot of big strikers. We saw this happen with Blood Diamond, is his teammate. And the question is, what happens when you go against a pressure wrestler, you get put on the ground? I am willing to find out the answer to that question, to risk my money for plus 625 odds on Gabriela Fernandez. And while I do think Wang is probably good enough with the grappling to stay away from the submission, if you want to take a real long shot on Gabriela Fernandez, it's plus 3,000 for submission and plus 1,000 by decision. And I believe plus 900 for the two combined. I will be absolutely sprinkling a little bit of my money on that. I think it's worth it to find out. Again, I'm not predicting here a Fernandez win, but those odds are crazy. I will take that risk at such lucratively generous odds, especially for somebody with 1 minute of octagon time in the UFC. Very impressive debut. Too much is unproven for me. I'm smashing that line personally. Next fight, Keenan Song versus Muslim Salikov. It's actually also the fight right after that one. I'm going to take Salikov by decision. I think Song's durable. Song's a pretty hard hitter. I don't think he's quite as good of a technical striker as Salikov. And one thing Salikov does really well, and we saw this in the Ponzinibbio fight, which I picked wrong. So proceed with caution. My Muslim Salikov bets, I do not have the best record. He has really good distance management. I think that distance management is going to be the difference in this fight. I also think it's going to be the reason he's probably not going to get the knockout. He's going to play it a little too safe. He's also getting older. Maybe some of that power, athleticism is going a little bit. He's already 40, I think. But I think he should be good for a decision over Keenan Song. Then we have Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. Yan Xiaonan sitting at a minus 185. I like her by decision at minus 120. If you like Ricci by decision's at plus 215. Honestly, I don't have an issue with either bet. I think they're both pretty fair values. I personally will be going with Yan Xiaonan. Even if Tabitha Ricci does get a takedown, Yan Xiaonan's got pretty good takedown defense, pretty good ability to get up. But I just think Yan Xiaonan's boxing volume is going to be too much for Tabitha Ricci on the feet. But we'll see. And the final pick of the night, I'm going to take the underdog in the main event. I'm going to pick Deiveson Figueiredo to beat Petr Yan. I actually think this is a pretty 50-50 fight. So I don't understand why Petr Yan's a 3-1 favorite. I understand that all of his losses have come against top-level competition and past champions, but I also haven't been super impressed with what I've seen with him lately. I didn't think he looked good in the second fight against Aljo. I didn't think he looked very good against Merab, obviously. He got destroyed by Merab. And even in his last win against Song Yadong, I thought Song won 3 of those rounds. He's coming off a knee injury. There was a certain period of inactivity for a while that seemed to stunt his growth to a certain extent. And on the flip side, you have Deiveson Figueiredo. He's tearing through the division. He's knocking down guys who have never been knocked down before. He's choking people out. He's knocking people's lights out. I think he's a live dog at plus 250. And like I said, I think this is a 50-50 fight. I think there's a lot of questions. I don't think the 3-1 line on Figueiredo, that Yan is reasonable at all. I'm going to take the plus money on Deiveson Figueiredo and hope for the best. Those are your picks of the week. I will post more on the Outlet SV Discord, where I post every week, as well as my X. So stay tuned, and let's continue this hot streak. I know I'm eating well. I can't hear you.
There we go. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, bro, I've been cashing in on these bets, and I hope you guys have too. I do want to say a few things because I do love this card. One, because two out of three of my favorite Asian women fighters are fighting on this card. You know, I'm high on Wang Kong or Kong Wang, whichever way you want to say it.
As you should be.
Yeah, I love her. Listen, I said she's got the heart of Mulan and hands like Wukong. She's no joke. Okay, I'm telling you right now, that chick, the Joker, is not coming to play any games, and I honestly feel like she can't win it. And I do want to see how she can defend against this wrestling style, right? Like how, let's see you. Are you good enough to defend takedowns enough to be able to get your striking and be efficient with it? So this is a test for her, and I love it. I also do agree. A minus 950 is pure hype right now. She did come out and hit Shorty with the 1-2 buckle my shoe, 3-4 time to snore, right? But 950 is kind of crazy. I mean, Gabriella is she's not a slouch at all.
Minus 300 at best.
And I love Wayne Kong with all my heart, but the way those odds sounded, I think I might have to just go ahead and put some money on Gabriella as well. I love that.
Wayne's going to win, just to be clear.
Yeah. And
plus 625, I sure as hell am going to find out.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I believe she's going to win. But with them odds, I got to play the DJ and me. Also, the second one of my favorite fighters is Yan, who will be fighting on this as well. I love her. One of the best strikers in the division. To be honest, in my opinion, I kind of feel like she's a better striker than Zhang Weili. But I mean, that's debatable. She did lose to her. So you could say that. But I feel like she is, in my opinion, the best female striker in that division. My opinion is not the best sometimes. You know, I make dumb decisions. So, you know, take it how you want to. But I do feel like also Jan is I think Jan's definitely getting the job done there. I love Tabitha Ritchie. She's also helps a lot with viewership. I think her, Mackenzie Dern, and there's a few other where a lot of you creep guys love to watch their fights. So I love the fact that she brings eyes in, and the fact that along with bringing eyes in, she can do a great performance. She could put together a great performance. I mean, Tabitha Ritchie's only lost 2 fights in her MMA career. She's 11-2. Like, she's no slouch as well. So that's going to be a good fight. I want to see, honestly, where that fight's going to go. On the main event note, I do agree with you. I think Davidson's going to get it done. I actually talked to his coach. I mean, you went down to their gym, didn't you?
No.
You didn't get a chance to? Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So we've huh? Yeah, he is.
In that gym?
Is he? Hold on, Figueiredo. No, I'm tripping. Figueiredo's. I know his. Yes, he's with Captain America's. I'm tripping. I know all of these coaches, and some of them start to mix together, especially when they're Brazilians. They all sound the same because they all speak Portuguese. I get confused sometimes. All right, but yes, Davidson Figueiredo works with Captain America, who is somebody that I do know, and I've seen on multiple occasions. We've met. I actually, funny story about Captain America is I helped him through security at Dubai when security was stopping him at Karate Combat. I'm like, dude, that's the champion's fucking coach. Let him through. Are you silly? Like, let him through. I also had to help the princess out, which is crazy. But yes, I feel like Davidson is going to get this. I was not impressed with Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling fight. I was not impressed at all with the Marab fight. Marab is just a total annihilator. Yeah. He's a total annihilator, right? This is his chance to prove that he is still who he is, but I think Figueiredo wants to get back to where he was. And I think Peter Yan is one of his first steps to getting back to that point. And there's a lot of talks of like, if I don't know, man, does Figueiredo beat Marab? It's a question.
Probably not, but at the same time, he'll have a better chance than a lot of Marab's recent opponents because Figueiredo himself is a very accomplished grappler.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he has that submission threat off of his back. And, he has knockout power just like anybody else in the division, even coming up from 125. He's been laying dudes out cold, and he's tearing through the division right now. You say first step. I think he's already well on his way. He has, 3-4 wins in the division.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made to line him up for a title shot if he beats Yan.
Yeah. And I think that's what I mean by the first step. Is like the first step of them actually being like, okay, now I think it's time for us to get him in the title conversation as far as like ASAP, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by first step.
At that point, or that's it.
Totally agree with you on that point. Last thing I want to say is Zhang Mingyang is fighting on this card, and I've actually had a chance to watch Zhang Mingyang train at the UFC Apex. I'm at UFC, headquarters, Institute, PI, right? I was working with Jason Manley one day. Well, not working with him. I was recording my boys work with them. And whenever they go, I like to go to the PI just to like see the fighters and, watch them train and just get a fan visual perspective of what's going on in the PI. And I got a chance to meet Zhang Ming Yang because Keith Berry, who we talked about earlier with Postmaster, he works with Jason Manley a lot with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestling. And he has Keith come out with the big guys. So it just happened one day we went and Zhang Ming Yang was there. And let me tell you something about Zhang Ming Yang. I don't even know if I have anything here that could justify how massive this man's legs are. Zhang Ming Yang has calves that look like baby tree trunks. Like they are so massive. Like they're huge. When I was watching them, like they were doing wall drills, like on the mats on the wall, just like trying to do defensive drills on the wall. Dude, I'm looking at his leg like if he kicks somebody, dude, I want to see him kick this guy. Like I want to see him kick this guy because I just want to see for myself as if his leg is going to obliterate through the other guy's leg. Because when I say I've never really seen legs that big, like I mean strong, not fat. Like you've seen fat calf muscles or fat legs and like guys that have size to them. No, it's pure muscle. I mean, like a Venice, like a deer, bro. It's just pure leg muscles, and it's insane. He's super strong, one, especially for a light heavyweight. I thought he was a heavyweight. When I seen him. He's a light heavyweight. He was rolling with 4 heavyweights and giving all of them problems. The other guy he was rolling with, guys, his name always flips on my mind. He's a black, dude, I can't. I will have to look it up. And I'm pretty sure he's a light heavyweight as well. But he was there. Rolling with him, and it was insane, bro. But not to go too deep on that. I just wanted to talk about those few fights that